many times, rather than somebody who's done it 3 times.
No, I mean, but they're not the only one. I mean, there's other real estate appraisers in Texas that could do this. I mean, we had to go search for a professional real estate appraiser. We didn't just pick any John Doe to do the appraisal that we did for the county. So, anyway.
Well, that was one dimensional, you were just looking at a building and property. Here we're trying to value the business, the lease, and a lot of other factors that goes into it, like Dr. Barnes is saying. This is a little bit more complex.
Well, that's why I'm saying that the business evaluation, I can see why that's on there and why that's different, but the appraisal, I mean, if no one else has any problems with it, I'll just be quiet and y'all, you vote to spend the 90, well, we already voted to spend the 50, so another $44,000 on, with limited funds, so.
I just want it appraised as high as it can get, so that we can convince somebody that it's worth a lot of money.
Okay.
Well, I'll throw in my 2 cents, since I can't help it. I agree on the real estate side. Dirt is dirt. Building and fixtures is building and fixtures. And there's 2 different components to this. And it says $20,000 to $25,000 for the real estate appraisal. This estimate is not a maximum or a fixed price. So it may be more than that. But what I don't understand, and I've been doing real estate for 40 something years, almost gave something away there.
Started when you were 3.
I'm sorry, but I know we're gonna get outvoted anyway, but I'm with Commissioner Samuelson on the real estate appraisal. That can be done for much less than that. The business side, in fact, the business evaluations, the numbers ought to be flipped around, in my opinion, but, because I wouldn't know how to evaluate a hospital. But a building's, like I say, building and parking lot, and
Yep.
real estate is real estate.
Right, there's comps, there's comparisons, there's people that do this all the time, I just don't get it.
But y'all do what you're gonna do.
I mean, would you be open to asking why that's so high, Judge?
You're free to ask it and call it up. I mean, I trust it. And I told him to, you know, he's got a fiduciary duty to us, his client here. And he's told me that he wanted to use VMG Health because it is the gold standard in doing the valuation on the deal. So
Okay,
please
well,
feel free to call him, but I think we need to get started on this thing. So I'd like to call for the vote on this thing. We've had it, this went out when how long has it, last week?
Last week.
On the deal, that's why I attached it, so everybody could look at it, read it, call him, if you wanted to call him. We need to get started on this deal. He's gonna, in my opinion, that's my opinion.
There's no phone number on here, I guess I have to call Reed and ask him for the phone number.
Next to the last page, Annette, there's a phone number here if you have any questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
The signature page.
Did you find it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, we've got a motion to accept this,
Second budget.
seconded by Dr. Barnes. All in favor say aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed?
Nay.
Okay. It passes 6-3. I'm sorry we can't all get together on this, but we will try our best to keep the funding and expenses minimal. And if they get too much, you can always fire somebody. Yeah,
That is a point.
I'm sorry, we can't fire commissioners and judges.
Please fire.
I've
6, discuss and take appropriate action, inmate dental. Did you bring their teeth with you?
I did.
All right.
Okay, so after going through some, invoices, and I spoke to Sheriff Deeds, and I also worked with Kim Dolder on this. The hospital district does cover, or has been covering, dental services for our inmates. However, in our handbook, it's kind of a little bit contradictory, because it says dental care on page 11, that's the first page you have, it says dental care shall be limited to treatment of jaw fractures and oral infections as designated by the primary health care provider as necessary for medical reasons. We just need to word that this is for inmates only, so there's no question that, civilians, they definitely cover them for dental. And then on page 13, if you look under non-covered services, it says dental care other than the specified. So then it's contradictory to like they don't cover dental care at all. So we really just need, we can take that one out of the non-covered services on page 13. And then just on 11, put that the dental care is for, the inmates only.
And okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's 100 procedures you can do in Sacramento.
Exactly, so if we put it's just limited, or do we want just basic care? Cause right now the dentist comes into the jail, right?
Correct.
So it makes it a lot easier, they don't have to transport them. So I don't think they do any major work other than just pull the tooth, so. But then we need to be very specific and say that it's, I mean, if they have a jaw fracture, they're obviously gonna be taken out for care somewhere else. I mean,
Jaw fractures, oral
Okay,
infections,
I'll see what
and extractions.
okay,
And it doesn't need to go beyond that, does it?
it's up to y'all what you wanna cover.
I like the 3 terms there, Doc. I don't know what,
So jaw fractures are gonna be deferred to a oral surgeon. If you get into that, I would say in your primary care person can treat, any infections, and then defer those people for extraction if needed. Personally, I'd just address those two. I'd stay out of the fracture, that's just something that, gonna require, x-ray. If they get an x-ray, then someone's gonna, have that dentist make a recommendation. So I don't know how I would specify other than, having the dentist evaluate people who are having, dental pain. And I assume your primary doctor is gonna treat with antibiotics. A lot of people's, pain is due to their infection. This infection, and oftentimes it resolves. These people are not being treated. So, you know, I keep it, I minimize your comments.
so you think we should remove the jaw fracture thing?
I would, and I would, you know, and I defer the pain to the primary doctor, then they typically are gonna treat with antibiotics. If the pain goes away, then you don't have to, then there's no reason for them to refer to the dentist.
So if I just word is dental care shall be limited to basic care as designated by the primary healthcare provider as necessary.
Correct, that's what I
Okay.
did.
Does basic care make people think that it is cleanings?
That they fix their fillings and pull teeth and give them teeth.
Yeah, I don't know about those.
We don't need to do
You know,
that.
dental pain, you know, if they've got,
Okay,
dental
basic
pain,
dental pain, okay.
and then they get evaluated by the physician.
That's a good one, yeah.
Okay. Dental pain,
We get too specific here on fillings and this and that, that's not right.
okay.
Not for the inmate.
And I'll bring this, I'll do it, and I'll bring this back to, put on
Next
agenda
month.
next month for y'all to bless.
So is the yellow part that you have highlighted, dental care, you're saying that's only for inmates?
It's gonna be for inmates only,
So are you
because we
gonna
don't cover anything for.
Are you gonna specify that in
Yes.
this yellow part? Okay.
And then we're gonna take out on page 13, we're gonna just delete dental care other than as specified, we're gonna take that out altogether.
says Hood County Hospital District Board Medical Director. Is that doctor? Have we ever specified that?
Is it the doctor on the hospital district board, or is it the doctor, like Dr. Bishop is right now?
Hood County Hospital District Board Medical Director.
What are you reading that?
That,
It's, about
Oh,
three
there
quarters
it
way
is.
down
Okay.
on
The medical board appoints that position, do they not? Next question.
I think we need to.
This board
either-
they appointed Dr. Bishop.
Yeah, you're right.
I
I think that's who they're referring to.
Yeah, I think we need to either strike that, or we need to put a name to this, somehow.
I think you better just strike it.
Okay, we can take that out too.
Yeah, because that.
Oh, and the orthodontics, now that you read that, there's orthodontics on there too, so we take that out too. Alright, I'm gonna actually go through this whole book, cause there's a lot of other updates that need to go, cause it hasn't been updated since 2023.
and bring it back to the
And
March
bring it
meeting?
back, the pages that y'all need to
Okay.
review and plus.
I'm good with that.
Good call.
Yep. Good call.
Have any other suggestions?
All right, okay, this is stuff that we don't cover, shouldn't orthodontics stay in there? We don't deal with orthodontics.
Oh,
And I
that,
think
you're right, that's in the non-covered.
And I think that the dental thing should probably still be in there also, with some specification unless medically necessary as defined by your primary care provider. So that would allow for the infection or whatever, so I think leave those in there, just,
Okay, so you wanna leave the orthodontics in and the dental care other than a
Not,
specifier,
not covered.
is not under non-covered.
right, not covered unless, specified by the primary care physician.
Okay.
And what about the medical director line?
I think you gotta take that out of there because the way we're set up, we're supposed to have a doctor on the board, but I don't think that Dr. Barnes, I don't think it would be fair for an MP to be making decisions as it relates to dental.
Well, this is all,
Well,
isn't this
that's not
every,
what-
isn't this all care? This isn't just dental.
Under non-covered services, that's all.
All care.
Right, I mean, you're talking about just striking the part about the judgment of the board medical director, right?
Right.
Oh,
Okay,
just say
so
that.
it's saying any service or benefit which is not medically necessary.
Yeah.
Leave that part.
It's really the designated primary physician that this board has chosen. Is the one
Yes.
who's making the evaluation.
Which is currently Dr. Bishop.
Is that how it reads when we voted on him, hospital? Can you look at that, when we voted to renew Dr.
We're paying
Bishop?
for him, so.
What the words are that we used?
Yeah, it may take a little bit, I'm
Okay.
gonna review all the minutes, if you know kind of what year that was,
Last year.
was it 2024?
Don't
Okay.
you do it every year?
I thought it was
23.
beginning 2023.
3.
Okay.
Okay. So for inmate dental, we're just gonna do this again next month, okay? We'll put it on the agenda for March. And Crystal can come up with all kinds of good stuff.
To table it, to make a motion to table it until next.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Who did you say, Terry? Okay.
Okay, the motion to table it and deal with it next March meeting, next regularly scheduled March meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, it passes. Thank you very much. It's 4.7, discuss and take appropriate action, annual investment policy review.
Yay, so I really didn't want this to get bumped again, so I asked, Mr. Stamper, Terry, if he would come and we sat down the other day and went through it, and, we looked at all the references to all the Texas government law and didn't find anything in the policy that needed to be updated. There were a couple of things we think that we're not fully doing, and one of those is the, investment reporting, and I asked Justin, cause I thought that's where those, investment reports came from, but he said they don't, they come from,
The judge's report.
yeah,
That, yes.
it's not, it doesn't have all the information that's required in our policy or in the, government code section 256.023 that's referenced. So we just need to, add more information to that. Like, for example, it's the same thing that our treasurer's required to do at the county. And for one, you have to have a statement of compliance, and we don't have that. So I don't know, Judge, if there's someone at the bank you can work with to change those reports, or how, if you want me to call them and talk to them, or Terry, we can, but,
There's three primary, statements here, Judge, that in the government code, section 2256, there's three pieces here that aren't within the scope of that report. That's all that really comes out of it.
And hasn't been doing it because it hasn't been done that way in 20 years, so.
and then the
If
other
we
one.
need to have that on there, we can get it.
Yeah, there's just a couple of numbers that aren't,
You know, the reason I guess it's not required, the market value for the reporting period, if we're not gonna cash it in, it's not gonna make any difference. That could change 10 times before you do it. That's putting a lot of extra work on the bank for doing that when it has no moment for us.
well, it's just complying with
And
the
then
law.
the ending market value for the period, there again, it's gonna be what it is, we're keeping them there as long as we possibly can, we renew it if we can, to keep drawing the interest. That's what we're doing right now with the bank. We're keeping the bonds and that are drawing the interest, pulling down on whatever that we can get to keep the cash to pay the bill, so.
Yeah.
We're doing that. And then the fully accrued interest for the reporting period, again, it's there, the money is always there, it's always shows
Right.
when this is busy work for the bank to do. I'm sure Gary Kitchens can do that, it's just a matter of looking it up when it's of no moment.
Well, it's just, do we wanna put in our policy that we're not gonna comply with the 2256.023? I'm just trying to, this is what our policy
Yeah.
says. We
You
can
can delete it
change
from
the
the policy
policy, I guess, and
if it's
say
not
that we're not.
a
going
need.
Well,
to-
I'm saying that it's not relevant, I mean, the money is there, the beginning interest rate or the mature interest rate, it's gonna vary on,
Right.
then on the bond or the CDs. I
That's
mean,
not any different than what Leanne does every month. We're not cashing in all these investments at the county, but she's got the beginning market value, the ending market value. Every government entity that has an investment policy complies with 2256.023, so. Okay, so the other one, which I asked Kim about, and she hasn't gotten back with us yet, is the
I'll
district.
take it, I'll just give it to Gary Kitchens and let him go ahead with that.
The district, in conjunction with its annual financial audit, shall perform a compliance audit of management controls and investments. I think, if I'm reading, I've got back out the audit report, and I think that I don't wanna assume the work that she did was this, so I called.
So we'll have the bank do
update
this,
that.
and the judge can ask the bank, Mr. Kitchens, is that his
Yeah,
name?
Gary Kitchens.
Gary Kitchens, to do this, and that way we'll adhere to the fine print in our rules.
Okay, and then Kim just emailed me today and I asked her the question, so I may already know, but maybe next week, I don't know. She's also, an auditor, so she may be doing taxes on it, but I'm sure I'll know by next meeting. But thank you, Terry, we
But
spent,
for the most part, this investment policy for the county hospital district is completely intact with what is now within the government code. That
Yeah.
pulled all the sections and took a look at them. So
So as long as
Yeah.
we get this,
regardless of that's
That
something
done.
a little bit different, a little tweak a little
Yeah.
different, but the rest of the
some more
stuff is-
wording.
I think we were both pleasantly surprised
I
that
was shocked.
how many references to government codes that are in here, that nothing had to change, and that we're doing it all, so we were like,
It was a good experience.
Yeah. so thanks, thank you, Terry.
Okay, so we need a motion for the judge to take this information to the bank and get the bank to add that to our monthly report.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make that.
Did that make any sense, Krista?
Well, I'll just call you and say, hey, what motion do we make to make what paper?
Move that the,
Yeah.
The
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? Dear Lord, be no questions. There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, it passes. Thank you very much. Okay.
You don't have to bump it again.
4.8, discuss and take appropriate action, Boucher Morgan and Young contract letter of engagement. Is that what we've already done? No, that's the audit people. I'm sorry. Too many initials. Boucher Morgan and Young,
The price is in here
they
somewhere.
wanna
I know I
do
saw it.
the next audit. And they've already requested information from Justin.
On the last page, about 3 paragraphs up.
It's $13,500 would be the max.
Where's that at?
On the
About
very
3
last
paragraphs
page.
up from the bottom. Last
Way back there. There you go.
Oh,
Got it.
yeah, tiny print.
Yep.
Which is that?
We have to
what we
have-
paid last year. Did they go
It's a
up?
little bit more, but they're saying that that would be the max, and she would keep it as low as possible, because she's been nice to us.
Mhm.
But we put up with them being behind, and now they are current. So. Any questions? Okay. Need a motion to accept Boucher Morgan and Young contract engagement
I'll
letter?
make that motion.
Second.
And Jack, the second? Okay. Any questions? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, it passes, thank you. 4.8 says we can convene into executive session.
That should be good.
We don't have, yeah, I'm sorry, it should be 4.9. I'm sorry, Krista, I didn't catch that. Okay, thank you. Okay. Does anybody have any reason to go into executive session? There being none, okay. The next regularly scheduled meeting will be March the 28th. It will be here at noon. Special call meeting next Friday, here noon, and I'll check and make sure that we can have it here. If not, it will be at the courtroom, at the downtown courthouse. Okay, everybody in favor of,
March 7th at high noon.
March 7th at high noon, yes, sir. Everybody in favor of adjourning, get
I'll
up
make
and
a
leave.
motion that we get up and move.
I'll second it. 3.1.
Bonnie seconded.
Commissioners Court for years. You asked him about it last.
Oh, yeah.
He's fine, he just got tired of going to Commissioners Court. Yeah. He decided that he was tired enough to stop going. I did.
Everybody, yeah.
Those two guys.
You notice the same people that were always there, you know, if you're down, it's like, yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't.